Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, the Bill Crane Report is back on the air again with another
That's right.
unbelievably well thought out program.
And I bet you're all getting ready for Christmas about this time, too.
That's right.
It's getting pretty close, if not.
And it's getting close.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where are we down to? We're down to 11 days.
Yeah, well, time this airs, it might be awful close.
That's exactly
And it's
right.
probably too close if you've been naughty.
That's right.
Yeah.
And for you folks that have forgotten, this is my compatriot and good friend, Dwayne Weiss, right here, ready to share lots and lots of wisdom of the ages.
When you were a kid
Yep.
for Christmas, I had never heard of the Elf on the Shelf until we moved here when I was an adult. I never knew what the hell it was.
Never heard of that.
It's an ugly looking gnome. They set it on usually on the mantle, and it's a nasty looking little thing. About that, well, they come in different sizes. My son had one, and he told his kids. He says, he watches everything, and he tells Santa Claus everything.
Gee.
Of course, the boys they were doubting Thomases from day one. So they nah. So Craig had this thing called GoPro, a little camera about this big. He used it for a lot of different things. And the kids were always playing with it. So he said, "I got to show you something." They went to bed. He took that gnome, that Elf on the Shelf, and did stopgap. Made it move. It looked like it would come down off the shelf. He went like this, and they moved it to the next place, and this place. When we put it all together, it crawled down off the counter or off the shelf, walked across the floor, stopped, and turned like this and looked at the camera with the most evil look, and turned away and walked away. He says, when those kids saw that, they really, for
Freaked
a couple
out.
of days, said, that thing is alive.
I remember only one time doubting Santa Claus. And my dad said, I can remember this as clear as day. I said, how can Santa Claus possibly go to every house in the world?
Yeah, I asked that too.
Yeah, and I remember Dad saying, well, I tell you what, you better get to sleep mighty fast because he's down in Michael Burke's house right
Oh, yeah,
now.
he was always close.
And he said he's got a new Buick this year. We believed him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. What killed it for me, we had an aunt that lived with us. She was never married, and she always since I was born, she lived with us. And we would go out on Christmas Eve to look at lights. And, my parents would take us out, and we'd drive around, look at the Christmas lights, and then come back. And lo and behold, when we got home, Santa had been there.
Wow. And eating his cookies.
Gone. He'd already been there. And Ann said, she says, I was out in the kitchen, and I heard a commotion in the living room. I went in there. The door was half open, and there all that stuff was. My brother and I looked out. He said, you want out the door? Yeah. So we said, well, it had been snowing. No tracks. We said, uh-oh, somebody's lying to us.
You guys were sharp.
Well, if she'd have said they just flew
Yeah.
away, but no, he went out the door and went down the steps, so that was no tracks.
The things you remember.
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, why did those things stick out? They weren't that big a deal when it happened, but you still...
You know what? I think they probably were a big deal
Oh, maybe.
when it happened, Especially you were young and the full area of your brain that retained stuff like that was empty. So it got quite a spot right
Christmas
there.
was a big deal for me anyway, and kids. We never got what we just didn't have that kind of money. I remember when the Sears catalog used to come with that Christmas stuff. It was about that thick, all the toys. Oh, that was they called it the Wish Book.
Yeah.
And that's what it was. I mean,
Yeah. The Children's Playboy magazine.
absolutely.
Well, folks, Dwayne and I were talking the other day about what we were going to talk about on the show. And we identified a couple of things that we're going to talk about. And the plan was, well, all right, we'll kick it off with, well, guess what? Stuff always happens.
We should know better than try to set up an agenda, because it never works.
No. So this morning, I got up and I turned on the TV right away. I said, no, if
What's
there's
going
any
on?
headlines, any breaking news here, I need to know it. And we'll plug it into the beginning of the show. So I did 4 or 5 things here. We won't.
I don't
They're
watch
not
TV.
going to be major league stuff.
But it's real current for us right
Yes,
now.
right
Because
now.
I don't watch TV in the morning. I read the paper and I
Right.
have about 8 cups of coffee, and that's
Yeah,
it.
me too. That's exactly what I do, except I watch Stuart Varney and read the papers at the same time. So we have, let's see, what do I want to start off with? We have a big national headline on the news this morning regarding the city of Boston.
Well, really?
Mayor Wu
Yep.
has really screwed up this time
She stepped
Big
in it big
time.
time.
with both feet.
Oh, okay. What now?
She decided to hold a holiday party at the Parkman in Boston for elected non-white officials,
Defined that way?
defined that way.
That's pure racism.
It is. She sent the invites out to the Boston City Council. There's 4 white guys, or 4 white people, sort of, or 3
Yeah.
on the Boston City Council.
Couple
They got them, the invitations, and it said for the non-white party.
I'm glad it made the news.
Oh, they immediately took that and called the newspapers.
Well, they
and
should.
The radio, so they absolutely should. Now, her staff, a staff member caught this like 15 minutes. I guess he went out by email.
Okay. Somebody said, uh-oh.
And she followed it up with an email saying, oops, you're not invited. Sorry for any confusion.
That made it worse.
Uh-huh. Please tell me something. Now, I turn to you because you are a container of common sense.
Well, depends on who you ask.
Please tell me the fallout that would take place if a white mayor threw a party for whites only. Can Mayor Wu do anything right? She makes Bozo the Clown look smart.
She does some stupid stuff.
Yeah.
But as far as if it was the other way around, say it would send out one for an invitation for whites, you'd have a nuclear winter.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole existence would stop.
There would
for
be
some-
lynching parties.
Oh yeah, for some reason it's okay one side, but it's nuclear devastation on the other side.
Yeah. They'd be tipping over police cars
yeah.
and burning storefronts. Yeah.
It's been that way for years, and I don't know how it comes that way. And
It is impossible for me to believe that this woman is the mayor of anything bigger than about an 18-person small town someplace down in the hills of
exactly,
Arkansas.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sorry to anyone from Arkansas, but
Don't be.
no.
Trust me.
Do you know something? Well, I'm no expert on Arkansas, but the worst traffic signals and the worst signs are in the state of Arkansas.
I'm not surprised.
Little Rock, Arkansas, if you're looking for 11th Street, you'll find it on the other side of 31st Avenue. I mean, it's stuff like that. Unbelievable. Whoever decided this was a great way to run a city.
Bill, there is something about the state of Arkansas. Honest to God, the times I've been there and the people I know from there and the people I ran into in the military, I don't know what it is. It must be the water. God almighty, you talk about stupid.
Yeah. Yeah, we had a couple of big customers in Arkansas.
Yeah, we did too.
That's where the bromine, liquid bromine, comes right up out of the ground naturally
that's
in
right.
Magnolia, Arkansas. Yeah, there's a Dow chemical plant there. Oh man, that was a lot of business for the
Walmart
Foxborough
must have
Company.
had to import a lot of executives to fill up their positions in Arkansas.
Boy, I'll tell you.
They say a lot about, well, the deep South or the South South or the Mississippi and the Louisiana are, they're not as bad as Arkansas for some reason. To me, it doesn't seem to be bad.
You know what? I think there's something to the hillbilly
Yeah.
influence in Arkansas that's not in Mississippi and Alabama.
It's different, altogether different.
They're more the genteel, old plantation
Exactly
South.
right. Arkansas lacks that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are Yahoo!
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was in the service with a guy by the name of Flowers from Arkansas. And, man, I'll tell you what, you could have taken him and that fire extinguisher and given both IQ tests, and I'll tell you, the fire extinguisher would have beat him.
Yeah, it's not. Everybody says, well, it's not fair to take a state, but some states have certain reputations, and they prove them out.
Yeah.
Not totally, but there's that tendency towards that.
You know something? Arkansas, Oklahoma, and Texas.
Yep.
Now, I had one rule in life as I matured, and that was don't ever try to kid anyone from those three states. Don't make them the butt of a joke.
No, nothing about their state either.
That's right. And I'll tell you something. All of them got hair triggers.
Yep.
And boy, if they'll be in your face in a heartbeat.
Yep.
And want to fight. I admire the fact they stick up for their rights and their opinions and all that. But boy, I'll tell you what, they cross the line real quick.
Yeah, they do.
Well, so much for a blanket condemnation of
right.
three states. See if we can find somebody else to insult.
We're capable of it.
That's right. This morning on Fox News, they had quite a story. The rights of nature. There is a group that's saying plants, animals, and the ecosystems all have the same right to live, function, and exist. Rivers, trees, land. This is all this are all entities that want and need protection.
I agree. Talking to a vegetarian one time, and she was telling me the benefits of vegetarianism. I said, yeah, but it's cruelty. What do you mean? I said, can you imagine a garden? There's Mother Carrot right there, and you come along and you pluck the little carrot right next to it. Imagine how that carrot feels seeing its child ripped out of the ground by its roots. Don't you feel sorry for that carrot? She says, no. And I says, you're unfeeling. That's what you are. She looked at me like I was crazy. Probably was.
Wow, that's... Yes.
Some of these people actually believe that plants have feelings and
Yeah.
such.
Oh, yeah. Listen, I knew a extremely well-educated and extremely successful businessman. And he felt there was no God, but that nature was one with man. And he said, when I need strength, he said, I go out in the woods and I hug a tree. He said, I get a feeling of warmth.
What does he do if he
through
wants to
my-
build a deck? Which tree does he cut up?
Which one bites the dust?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, since I did a lot of business with him,
Oh yeah, I
I
know.
was very silent during that whole deal. But the white, wealthy Westerners that are buying up land in Africa are causing an imbalance in Africa, and we all are part of the world community. We've got to protect Africa from the white, wealthy businessmen.
I figured there had to be a color in there someplace.
Yep. But, and this is bad because nature, the trees, the critters have no say in what these white devils are going to do that are buying them up.
Shame on him.
I'm telling you,
Yeah.
between these two, I'm going to have trouble sleeping tonight.
Oh, I know. Me too.
But here,
And I remember years ago it was a darter snail or
yeah,
little,
snail data,
yeah, it stopped all kinds of
a
construction.
nuclear
company.
power plant.
Yeah, it was a little minnow someplace they found in a pond in
And they said
Arizona
it
or
was
something.
that was the only place on the face of the earth existed.
What the
that
hell
was
is the difference?
biggest lie ever created by those bastards. And that thing was all over the place.
And now this is, I'm sorry, some of you environmentalists, but nature has been.
Oh, we're not going to be sorry. We don't have to apologize.
We're not really
to
sorry.
them.
That was
That's
just-
their own.
that was
damn
just being
mess.
PC.
Yeah.
But nature has been going to putting species extinct for millions of years. Sometimes in itself and sometimes with outside forces, but it's still happened.
It's an evolving
Yes.
Earth.
And we as human beings are really no better off or worse off when some of these species come or go.
That's right. Because we adapt.
What would happen if we lost, I don't know, the Arctic,
Longhorn sheep.
yeah, or the Arctic fox, for example.
Yeah.
What would your life change? It
wouldn't.
wouldn't change. It wouldn't change one iota.
No. No. Oh, polar bears.
Polar bear.
Now,
I know
folks,
some people that live up in Churchill, Canada,
Yeah.
would be damn glad to
Northwest
see some.
Territories.
Yeah,
Yeah.
see some of them go.
folks, guess what? I know this may puncture some ideas of some folks, but nonetheless, polar bear is not a distinct species. It's a brown bear. All right? The brown bear. And it has morphed into the color white through centuries of evolution.
I have relatives in the areas right now where they're trying to bring back the wolf.
Yeah.
They reintroduced grizzlies. I mean, and they too, they said, why are you bringing in a species that will kill us? We like to go out in the woods, walk or trek. Now, he said, you can't.
No, I know.
You take your life. You have to buy these big things of bear spray.
Yeah.
And then places are closed because there's grizzlies around.
Carried those big things called 30-30s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he said, we were perfectly happy without the grizzlies here.
Yeah.
They didn't do anything.
Well, sheep herders and different folks that raise different kinds of livestock are not thrilled with them reintroducing the wolves
Oh,
into
not at all.
Montana
Not at all.
and Wyoming,
Yep.
and the damn wolves are thriving.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
But you're right. I believe I don't. I'll say it. I'm not positive of it. It's something of this order of magnitude. That of the species that have existed, 90% of them are now extinct.
Yes. Exactly right. It's a huge number of.
Because we're evolving.
That's right.
Yeah, and some things just can't make the cutoff.
No, well, nature's got a way of preserving its own self. It's survival of the fittest.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah.
In Los Angeles, we have a headline this morning on the Wall Street Journal, of all places.
Okay.
A 49-unit development is finally going to open after a 17-year fight to build this modest project of affordable housing for both the homeless as well as lower and middle income workers. One opponent on the city council has tied this up for nearly 2 decades.
Yep.
They have got, of course, out in California, they have got rules and restrictions, and you can't fart in public, and I mean, you name it, and they have restrictions on it. But this one councilor kept on reintroducing roadblocks based on this regulation, that regulation. And it was 2 years before it went through the court system. I mean, it almost sounds like Norfolk.
It does. Well, it sounds like Massachusetts.
Yeah. Unbelievable. Can you imagine that? 17 years to build 49 units of
Yeah, I can.
affordable housing.
Bureaucracies function that way.
Yeah. I don't want to get going on that. Now, I have a story here. It's going to lead into another story.
Okay.
Israel, U.S. show sharp divisions as Hamas tunnels are flooded. Well, now, the U.S. is doing their damnedest to stop Israel from pursuing this war because of the casualties among the population.
Right.
Okay? Granted. But you know what? It's that old story again. If you're going to make an omelet, you got to break
Break some
eggs.
eggs. That's right.
So Hamas did horrible things. I've written an article. I'm not even going to talk about it. Folks, go on the internet
Yeah.
and look at what happened when Hamas went on that rape and murder rampage against the Israelis, killing 1,500 people and just doing horrible things to the dead bodies. And you wonder why the Israelis are mad at Hamas?
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you something. You open your eyes, go on the internet and look at that stuff. So
But be aware that it is bad.
it is bad. It's really bad. It's almost unwatchable.
If you're ever really, when I say viewer discretion advised, this one is really, there are some things there that are really shocking.
Unbelievable. So the Israelis have said Hamas must be destroyed. And that was the first thing that President Biden said, too. I agree. Hamas has got to be destroyed.
Yep.
Now, all of a sudden, oh, well, wait a minute. I feel icky about this. Oh, they're using real bullets now.
Reality sets in.
Yeah. And
what it is.
reality can be quite an eye-opening experience.
That it can be. And we have a very short attention span in this country. And we lose interest in stuff real fast. We pick it up fast and we run with it, and then all of a sudden, I'll go with something else. It's like we got OCD or something. But that's been, the media does it, we do it. People, we're just used to A to B to C to D to E to F.
Yep.
You know, we went from Ukraine to Israel. Now there'll be something else will pop up and we'll jump off.
Taiwan.
Yeah, or Taiwan,
Oh,
somebody
yeah.
else. or something
mean-
out of the blue will come up, you
Yeah.
know, and we'll just abandon everything else and go on to something else.
So we've got this now, okay? The administration is trying its best now to, oh, come on now, Israel, stop this, you know. Guess what? Here's what a story that it came this morning in this morning's Wall Street Journal.
Are the
Washington is blocking shipment of rifles to Israel. They bought 27,000 U.S.-made rifles. We're not shipping them. We're holding them up. Do you think this story and this story are interlocked? You better believe it.
Yes, sir.
We are saying no rifles till you start to behave. Yeah, and then we're going to do other things to them too. This is such a meat-headed approach
it is.
to, I mean, how the hell can we interfere with the war? Israel was attacked. Israel is fighting the battle. All right? So we're supporting our ally. That's the end of it. Now, we can't start dictating to Israel. Well, you can't do this, and you can't do that.
No,
and you got to give them 24 hours warning before you're going to bomb this place. And for God's sakes.
Yeah, but you can give Israel is a tough cookie.
They are.
You know, they're not going to buy. They're not
No.
going to bend.
No, and I
too
hope,
easily.
I hope Czechoslovakia or Poland has rifles on the shelf and turns around and sends
Yeah,
them
we'll do
to
it.
them.
Yeah.
Gosh, I mean, this is so stupid.
That tunnel, the flooding of the tunnels. I proposed not flooding. I said I think ought to fill it with poison gas.
Yeah.
That's even worse.
Yeah. Oh, that's outlawed though by
I know.
Yeah.
You can't. Well, I told you the Tay Ninh area in Vietnam, they were putting in CS gas, tear gas stuff
Yeah.
into the tunnel system. Had to stop.
Yeah.
So they used napalm. They burn them out. That was okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you couldn't choke them out. You couldn't make their eyes water and they come out sneezing and with runny noses.
Are we a nation of contradictions?
Oh, this is crazy.
It is. You're absolutely right. I couldn't agree more. Tensions flare on campus. I'm not going to read this article, but they agreed to keep President Claudine Gay, the board of directors, following the Harvard Corporation board of directors, unanimously support her.
Well, of course.
Many Harvard faculty also expressed support for the corporation's decision in a statement, but warned the push against her reflected an increasingly damaged pattern of right-wing attacks on institutions of higher education in American democracy. If that isn't the biggest, phoniest damn statement.
Yep. Well, don't forget, these people are elitist
That's right.
from the get-go.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, their statements, you look at it and you think, well, that sounds good. But it doesn't say a damn thing.
Nope. And not only that, but another fact I discovered this week. What percentage of professors that teach at Harvard identify as being conservatives?
You want me to guess? 8 to 10. 3.
3%.
Oh, yeah.
Now,
That does
how
drive
can
me.
they say they are a well-balanced, top of the heap educational facility in the world?
Haven't been since
Bechtel was a pup.
50s someplace.
Yeah. Yeah. 3%.
Yeah.
Now, there's one other thing. Professors argued students championing pro-Palestinian viewpoints have been relentlessly attacked and subject to egregious recriminations, and their speech must be protected. Unbelievable.
It's crazy. I mean, if you looked at it both sides, and
Yeah.
things have gotten really nuts.
Yeah. We should never allow such nefarious outside forces, whether disingenuous far-right politicians or billionaire donors, to set the tone of a national conversation about dissent, equity, and tolerance on campus, said V.J. Iyer, president of Music and African American Studies.
Well, that tells you something right there.
Sure does. You know, that university has been captured totally by the far left, and any idea that your kid is going to get a balanced education,
absolutely not. That's gone out
for
the window.
$90,000 a year that it's going to cost you is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, that is. It's a one-sided philosophy. It's been that way for years now, and they act totally like total hypocrites.
Yep. And I tell you what, if I were president, I would say to them, you know what, you folks are off the rails, okay? So we're going to stop all government programs. We're not going to pay you a penny.
Don't forget, Harvard's turning out titans of industry,
Yeah.
titans of the business world, big vice presidents and presidents of corporations and startup companies and all this kind of thing. But yet they're teaching a socialistic country or philosophy.
You know, that is a marvelous insight. You're teaching one thing and turning them loose in the other. I guess with the idea that when they're over here and established, they'll pull their socialism roots over. Well, that's a dreadful thought.
If you looked at the demonstrations and the students at Harvard, now don't forget, it's the loudmouth ones that are out there demonstrating. They're the ones that the press is looking at. But if you looked at that, you'd say they must be turning out tens of thousands of social workers a year or environmentalists. They're not. They're turning out
nurses.
Well, not even so much nurses, but they're turning out captains of industry, for cripe's sakes.
Yeah.
Now, even worse than that's MIT.
Yeah. They're the same bunch.
They're all engineers.
Yeah.
And they're not turning out social workers and environmentalists and this activist and that activist. They're turning out people who know how to use a calculator and to build something.
Yep. But they're also got a liberal philosophy they're being taught up there along with engineering.
Until it comes time when they're in business themselves.
Yeah.
Then it's not so liberal anymore.
Yeah, then the smooth road gets rockier. And
when my money's going into this business, I am really not too concerned about the snail darter anymore.
When I was a kid, you said something. You said loudmouths. You're right. And I was probably a bit of a loudmouth as a child.
No.
Yeah. Yep.
You must have just lost it someplace.
Something happened. I'm hit by lightning or something. But in the 7th grade, I had a great teacher, Mike Cosentino. And Mike came to us as 23 or 24 years old, fresh out of Arnold College in Connecticut.
Okay.
His first teaching job. And he was the 7th grade homeroom teacher, and he taught us geography and history. Because in the 7th grade, our teachers didn't rotate around, except for, I think the English teacher came in and taught us English, and Mike went over to the 8th grade and taught them something else. And Mike was a great guy, and he's still out on the golf courses over in Plainville, knocking the ball around.
Okay.
But I remember him saying to me, Bill, do you understand the old saying, an empty barrel makes the most noise?
Mm-hmm.
He said, do I have to explain that to you?
Yeah.
No, Mr. Cosentino. He was a great guy. And he ended up, when King Philip was built, he was got back into physical education too, and was the baseball coach. And all around good guy. I was lucky in school. I had some good teachers.
I had nuns. We had the
You
same,
had it drilled into you, didn't you?
we had the same old cranky nun. When you shut the door up 8 o'clock in the morning, it was 3:30 when you went home. It was the same one. She never left.
Still cranking?
Still cranky. Hated the boys, loved the girls.
A lot of that going around. The only other thing I had that I cut out, we've already talked about, and that's potty playing lays an egg.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's first page in the Herald. I wonder how the Globe will handle this.
I don't know. That's going to be they might not even mention it. 'Cause
You know what?
There's nothing. I didn't see anything. I haven't seen peruse the entire paper, but the first 2 sections, there was nothing in it.
I didn't look at it this morning
A
because
lot of those kind of things they won't touch.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
They just ignore it.
There's things that I think are in print that do not appear in the online version.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. One thing I did notice this morning, though, and that's in the Chronicle. I believe it. Yeah, Chronicle. Our illustrious governor has finally applied for federal assistance, federal disaster assistance, from September 11th.
Wow.
I mean, where you been, honey? This
I've
happened.
been
The flood in Attleboro and
Yeah.
the Dartmouth and all
Yeah.
that. She's finally applied. You're only 3 months late.
She's a day late and a pound short on just about everything. She is in over her head.
Oh my! Well, she's not governor. She's just this is a stepping stone. We've
That's
done this-
exactly right. I have now got the title,
Yeah.
and I will now begin canvassing the country. I'll go out speaking for Democratic candidates everywhere, just like she did 4 years ago.
That's right.
And 4 years
Had
before
no
that.
business doing it.
That's right. And but I'll continue to collect my paycheck because I'll be available over the phone to discuss matters. Yeah, right.
She's got a federal position in mind. I'm not sure what she's shooting
Attorney
for.
General.
Yeah, or
Yep.
some cabinet position.
Yep. Oh yeah. There's no question about it.
And
but
I
you
see
know what?
our astute Attorney General.
Yes.
She'd been living next to a dope house for several years, didn't even notice it for years. Then she noticed people coming in and out, in and out, in and out. But she can't do anything about it. She knows they're selling it. I mean, if you're the Attorney General and you can't do anything about it, how in the hell is the local police department going to do anything about it?
Either can't or won't
is what it is.
do about it. Yeah.
Well, you know why that is.
Yep. Absolutely. And it politicians hamstring themselves worrying about blowback.
Yep. Oh my gosh, yes. That's
And this one here has got blowback written all over it.
yeah.
Because she wants this to go away. And then the people, the mean people, the miserable
Oh, my gosh.
gripers. How could you possibly live there and not know it? Why haven't you done anything about it? What the hell's going on? Are they paying you off?
Oh yeah.
So if in her world, a perfect world, this story would be erased.
Would have never
Today.
came. Would have never came to surface.
That's it. All papers would be burned.
Absolutely, and that has happened, in the past. All traces of this story just
All
disappeared.
of them have done this.
Yeah.
Yep. Dwayne, I think we decided we would talk about the affairs of the Middle East.
Yes.
And I would like you to kick off whatever you would like to talk about. And I got some stuff here. Couple of things. That Russia has lost nearly 90% of their fighting
That's
force.
incredible. I saw that online yesterday.
And Israel has killed half
Yep.
of Hamas's battalion leaders.
That's right.
Now, why is this an important story? Because Hamas they're not military people. They are savages. So you've got to have strong leaders over them telling them what to do. If you kill the leaders,
That's right.
then the underlings, the savages, don't know what to do. Their hands go up in the air.
You can almost. Savages is how they act.
Yeah,
They're organized like a mob.
exactly. Mob. That would have been much better.
Well, a savage mob, but
Yeah.
They don't have any leadership except for a very small core. There's no second or third or tertiary levels of leadership in a group like that. And you kill the head, the body dies.
That's exactly right. And that is why that story is so important.
Israel realizes that. And that's why they're going after where they're going after. They're looking,
Sure.
if we got to blow up a city block to get this one guy, we'll do it.
We'll do it, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the same thing with the Russian army.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I mean, if you get the battalion commander, boy, afterwards, underneath, those people are not qualified or have not been trained because
That's the key.
that's it.
They're told you do your job at your level and don't do anything else.
That's right. You've got a very narrow window to look through. You're not going to look through the whole window.
Some militaries, U.S., trains levels to look to the next level, to look to the next level, show leadership here and move up here if you have to move up, take these spots over. Russians don't do that. Russians say if the company commander gets killed, the platoon commander does not step in because he's never told that's not your business. You are the platoon commander. The squad commander doesn't go to the platoon commander spot. And so they chaos results of it.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. But the U.S., if the captain is wounded in action,
Yeah, the
then
lieutenant takes over.
the lieutenant takes over.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's seamless.
Yeah, exactly. But you know why some of these military organizations are structured that way? They're always afraid of a coup. In the back of their mind, they're afraid that somebody's going to be very powerful and go from this spot to this spot to this spot to this spot, and all of a sudden pop out on the top, and he's going to be a threat to the whole organization.
We cannot arm this man with too much information or
That's
too
right.
much power because he will turn on us and I'll be dead in a coup.
Precisely.
Yeah. And that's the big weakness of the Russian military. And Hamas, obviously, is the same sort of situation. Take away the leadership, and all they can do is mill around.
I'm pretty much what you said about the Middle East. I'm amazed at the restraint that's being shown right now in the area of international shipping where these missiles are coming out of Yemen.
Oh, by the Houthis?
The Houthi, yeah. I am surprised they're not turning around and just letting them have it.
Again, it is these weaklings in the White House that are advising the president that have this vision of a world where everybody's equal, okay? And we're not going to slam people with our power. We shouldn't have that much power. It should be that we're all the same. And that way we won't attack each other. And,
We know where this stuff is coming
of
from.
course.
We have got, right now, well, we've had for a long time, and I don't know what's going on in the past. We're so old, we're lucky we even saw gunpowder, you know.
Yeah.
But I know they already had, in my day, radar that could track incoming mortar howitzer rounds. They would track them back to the source. They would shoot at you. You're saying, oh, there they are, the coordinates, and you'd annihilate them. Today, they got to be able to pinpoint where those things are coming from, because they got satellites that'll do this.
Of course. They know exactly where they're coming
Yeah,
from.
and I can't understand why you get shot at a USS, whatever ship it is, you're not unleashing 15 cruise missiles at them.
We've also got squadrons of A-10 Warthogs over there.
Yeah.
All right? Which is a low-level fighter plane. Okay, folks? That comes in low and destroys targets. It is a powerful weapon. You know, you let half a dozen of those loose and attack these sites, for heaven's sakes. That's the end of it. That's the end of
That'd
the
be the end of it. And I don't know why we're fooling with that.
Because there is a paranoia that says we cannot allow this war to widen. Okay, I agree with that. But damn it all, you've got to fight back.
That's right.
Because our
You just
troops are being
encourage them. You're
attacked.
encouraging them.
Yeah. Oh.
They went after a tanker yesterday that was full of jet fuel coming from India going to Western Europe someplace. It had nothing to do with
Right.
Israel or anything else. And they were just lucky that tanker was lucky it didn't get hit.
Well, I tell you what, when something like that happens, if we don't retaliate and take out that site
Yep.
that was shooting those missiles, then we have got some serious problems.
I was glad to see that the tanker had on board armed guards. That they fought off
The pirates.
pirate type characters. For a long time, they wouldn't even allow
I know.
any armed.
You
Nuts.
know,
Look,
it is so bloody frustrating to follow this whole thing. But you know what, Dwayne? They are talking about this previous article. I talked to you about the weaponry that we are Washington's excuse
Okay.
for the holding up the 27,000. These are M4s and M16s.
yep.
The Biden administration is holding back a shipment, blah, 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 because of the national concerns that they could end up transferred to extremist Israeli settlers in the West Bank.
Well, I got news for them. They're already armed.
You better believe it. This,
They might have M16, but they get AR-15s.
Dwayne, let's play devil's advocate for a
Okay.
second and say, this is true. This is what they really believe. Will you explain to me our exit strategy in Afghanistan?
No.
And were we concerned about billions of dollars of war equipment we
right.
left behind when we ran like a scared little kid
That's right.
out of
Just
Afghanistan?
abandoned it.
Abandoned all that equipment, abandoned the people that were loyal to us, that worked for us. Yeah, and we just said, "Oh, well, go live," and we're not
And
protecting
today, the
you.
Taliban there, they all look like U.S. soldiers.
Yeah.
They've all got their helmets.
Yeah.
They all got flak vests. They're driving Bradley fighting vehicles.
Yeah.
All carrying M16s or A4s.
Yeah, but we're afraid
Yeah.
to give the rifles to Israel, an ally, not
that's right.
that Afghanistan was an ally of us, but we are afraid to give them the rifles for fear they'll fall into extremist hands. What a bunch of crap.
That's right. Today, that's ridiculous.
Yep.
That rifle is available anywhere.
They can buy it by the pound, for heaven's
Yeah,
sake.
I know. There's
Yeah.
so many people, so many countries are manufacturing that would sell it everywhere.
Yeah, but I'm sure that we are giving it to the Israelis, not selling it to them.
More
and
than
that's
likely.
probably what they figured. They'll yank their chain a little bit and try to hold them back. But I'll tell you what, then Israel will just go to other sources and buy
Yeah.
other stuff. And this will just weaken the bond between the two countries again.
And I don't know why that even makes a paper. I don't know why the U.S. doesn't just make a straw deal, sell it to the third party, and the third party sells it. We've done that stuff so many times.
This is their attempt to rein in the Israelis. That's what this is all about.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because I got involved with that one time
Go ahead.
years ago it wasn't armaments. It was restricted sales to a country, and I don't remember the politics or anything of it. And they wanted hacksaw blades, and I can't remember the polymendium hacksaw. I forgot what they even called. They got a flexible shaft or blade with a very hard tooth on them, and somehow that they're used for cutting exotic metal. And I got a bid one time. Somebody said they want to know how many hacksaw blades fits in a shipping container. What?
You can't count how many.
I said, God, there's got to be millions of them. I said, is this a joke? No, we want to know how many we. So I called the company. They said, what? The same thing. Is this a joke? Are you trying to tie somebody up for about 5 days trying to figure this? I said, no. I got a request for a quote. Okay. And they come back with, they didn't get my blades. They had cases of stuff. And they said, where's this going? I said, no one knows. I said, it's just going to a P.O. box on a dock someplace in New York City. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, interesting.
That was one of the biggest commission checks I ever got. I didn't ask any questions.
I'll tell you. Just as Frank Buchanan would say, when you're faced with that situation, keep your hands in your pockets and keep whistling.
That's right. Keep on walking. 5, Bill.
Okay. So, Dwayne, are we... Maybe this was a good one to get out on. We can get back into it when we turn the show over, but are we going to abandon Ukraine?
I hope not, because the repercussions and the consequences of doing that are going to be extreme.
Calamitous.
That's right.
We will lose more friends,
Yep.
and we will lose our position as a world leader.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Now we're influencing not Israel or Gaza Strip. Now we're going NATO and everything is interlaced together, and we can't afford to abandon them.
That's exactly right.
And number two, you've got that statistics there that I picked the same one, that 90% of Russia's standing army when this thing started is gone.
They have prisoners, ne'er-do-wells,
Yeah.
children.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They're down to dregs.
Yeah.
And they are afraid to institute a draft, a general regular draft, because they don't know. They may rise up against Putin and his government.
I would think there would be quite an exodus for the borders.
There is right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Folks trying to get out of Russia because things are not going well. Putin can put a smiley face
Yeah, on it.
Every single day for the next month on TV, okay? But he's not fooling anybody.
No, because they're more and more. What do they say? They figure 300 to 325,000 have been killed so far. You know, that's a lot of families.
That's right.
You can put a cap on all the news you want, but when Mr. and Mrs. Winkovich son does not come home, and nobody knows where he is,
Yep.
and then the one down the street doesn't come home, and then their cousins in the next town, his son doesn't come home. All of a sudden, they start putting two and two together,
Oh,
saying,
yeah.
"What's going on here?"
That's right. Because they're not going to ship the bodies back home.
No.
Because then people will be
Yeah.
able to count.
That's exactly right. They simply disappear.
Yeah. And you know, now there was a big thing this morning, breaking news, as I shut the TV off and left. But Putin has hinted that Wall Street Journal reporter that's been over there for 5 years,
Yeah.
there may be a way out of this if you'll work with me.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There's something we can do here. So now we're getting all excited about it.
You know, things got to be tough when you go to North Korea
Yeah.
to buy armament.
Yeah.
That's tough.
You know, someday we'll have to talk about North Korea because that is a story that it's incredible.
It's
I mean, here is a country that time has forgotten.
bizarro world.
Yeah, bizarro
exactly.
world. Exactly right.
Yep.
Well, folks, this may be a bizarro moment for you, but we're going to sign off, and you folks can perhaps refresh your Tom Collins or
Old fashioned.
old-fashioned, or get yourself a cup of coffee and a donut or something, and then come back for the second half of the show. So, stay tuned.